Hey guys, Mark, of course, coming to you. I wanted to take a quick moment, and as we wrap up the first week of the year, I wanted us to see how you're doing. How are things going for you? How are you managing your schedule, and how are you winning? How much did you win this week? We're 5 days into the new year of the working week. Some of you started on Saturday and Sunday of actually working, and that's okay. I was talking with my coach before Christmas, and he said there are only 5 things that we can change that we can then get a different result by changing them. And here's where they are. Number one, the thing that we could change is a time block schedule. Number two, that we could change is our work ethic, meaning more hours worked or working more hours or more days. Number three, that we could change is our education. Number four is the technology that we use, or number five is our environment. These are the 5 categories that we can actually make changes to and expect different results from what we did. So whether you enjoyed what you did last week or last year, as far as your business, and you made the money that you're wanting to make, or you didn't make the money you're wanting to make, let's look at these 5 areas of the things that we could change to actually get a different or better result. And so what I want to spend some time with for you guys this week is just sharing kind of what my approach was when I was an agent. This is not the right way, just is what I did, and I thought I might share it with you. The first thing that I knew that I had to nail down was a time block schedule. So the environment in which you operate has a massive impact on what you're doing. This is why we talk about the opportunity to get inside of trainings and get inside the room and be involved in different conversations and a coaching program and getting a coach and getting exposure to other things. There's some things that I wanted to talk with you though about how do you manage your time so that way you can do the business that you need to do. So that way you can have the personal growth and development that you need to have to level up your skills and your knowledge and your thought process so you can achieve more, and then actually be held accountable for those activities. So let's just simply talk about a schedule today. I want to take 5 minutes and talk about a schedule. And here's what it's going to look like. I'm going to share a screen with you, and I'm going to tell you how I built out my schedule when I was an agent, so that way you can do the same thing or something like that. I'm going to skip ahead. What I just did is I went into calendars on my Google Calendar. I just simply came in and said, add a calendar. And I created a new calendar. I'm just going to call it a test. This is all I did. Now I'm going to move ahead to next week because I'm going to time block this schedule out. And it's just an extra calendar, a reference, a North Star that I could use to kind of guide my activities on a weekly basis. This is my ideal calendar. So for me, the thing that I knew that I had to have every single day, as you guys know, is what? Lead generation, you got it. So what I would say to do is I would block off somewhere between 2.5 to 3 hours every single day just for lead generation. And all I would call this is lead gen. This is it. Then I come into my calendar, does not repeat, and I hit weekly every weekday, Monday to Friday. That's what I would do. And I would save this. And now it shows up for my entire week. I know that between 9 and noon, I'm going to show up somewhere, whether it's in my home office, at the market center. I'm going to do lead generation. And here's what I did. I said that because I was responsible for my family and my income, that anything that was scheduled in that time block for me was a no. Anything that was scheduled that took away from lead generation was a no. Here were the couple of exceptions that I would use. And let me just say this. Here's the rule that I used to justify saying no to my schedule for something else. Number one is if I was doing something else between 9 and noon, it had to have a lead generation element in it. So if I'm attending a coaching session, if I'm attending Ignite, or if I'm attending a training, it needed to have a lead generation aspect to it. This is why we would schedule Ignite between 9 and noon, because in Ignite, you would still make phone calls. In Bold, you still make phone calls. Now, the rule of thumb that I learned from the one thing very simply was, if you erase it, you must replace it. Okay, so if I understand these are the rules in which I operate with my calendar, that I have certain rules of what goes on, and if I erase it, I have to replace it, that's okay. Now I have some freedom in my schedule. Then what I would do is I always took a working lunch. And here's what that means. It means I blocked off time to where I turned my phone off. I would turn my phone off. And what I would do is I would actually then go in and I would do some like learning and growth and personal development. So what I would say is I'd come in here and I would just call this lunch is what I would do. And I knew for me that lunch was a working lunch. So I would bring my lunch to the market center. And in that, I would have a schedule of what I would do. So for instance, in here, I might say, when I go to my description, I might go to different things to go and learn. So here's my option. I would create a menu of success. First thing that I might listen to. Whoa, sorry, I can type. Is a podcast. That's an option for me. What's the podcast I'm going to listen to? And of course, this was real estate related. Here are some podcasts that I would recommend that you take and listen to. Number one that I did was Bigger Pockets. The reason I chose Bigger Pockets podcast was because my passion is in building wealth. And that was why I got into real estate was to build wealth. So I would spend that hour listening to a podcast while I ate lunch. I would eat for like 15, 20 minutes. It doesn't take me that long to eat. And I would take notes on the podcast somewhere. So that way I had a journal and a diary of things I could go back and reflect on. So number one was a podcast. Another podcast is Real Estate Rockstars. This is a great podcast, guys. If you're specifically looking to talk to big producers, Real Estate Rockstars is a great podcast. And of course, you got Gary Keller's Think Like a CEO. Great podcast to listen to and listen to how Gary built the company and how he is coaching his current top producers. Number four would be, and this is no particular order, number four would be the One Thing podcast, because that's all about productivity and getting things done. There's a lot of podcasts out there, guys. Here's what I would say. Make this enjoyable. Make this something. For me, fun is a big deal for me. It's something that I want to learn about and get better at. So podcast, number one. Second thing that I might do is I might go to kwconnect.com. Here's why I say that, because if you look and you say, I'm going to come over here, go to kwconnect.com. Everybody has access to this as a Keller Williams agent. You can come in and you can see that there are specific trainings that are going on. Today is how to stay on top of your schedule. But you can look back and see what other resources have been in here. Here's a class called 12 Weeks of Listings with James Shaw. What specific week? All the weeks that they've been doing that. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 ways to win the day before. Something that's going to stretch your mind. Right? If you like the training and the conversation, KW Connect has a ton of resources here. They have the upcoming events that you can see what's going on in the week. So if there's something that you wanted to see, you can jump in here and actually go and sit in that class. It's a live class. And if you miss it, then just come down here and watch the recording. It's on demand, so you can go back and see it. Okay, let's get back to the calendar. The third thing, the last thing that I would do in my calendar would be some kind of book. What kind of book am I reading? Well, the books that I like to read, some things that I really like, I'm still here. This is a great book called Exactly What to Say. It's a really great conversations or closing book on how to close things out. Of course, you can read Millionaire Real Estate Agent. You could read Shift. You could read Millionaire Real Estate Investor, The One Thing. I mean, guys, there's no shortage of books to go read out there. Leadership books, personal development books. These are the things I would read. Another one that I loved was Happy Money was a great book I read last year. Simple Path to Wealth. Another one's called Wealth Can't Wait. You get the point. Identify the things that you want to learn this year as an individual. Book them out. What months are you going to be reading those books? Spend 10 minutes a day reading a book. You'll be way ahead of yourself in the future. So that was lunch. Then what I would do is really simply is I would say, all right, I'm going to take an hour right here after lunch where I would literally just work on admin, right? So if you don't have an admin in your world and you don't have a transaction coordinator, you need some time to do some administrative tasks. So this would be something like responding to emails, following up with leads, going back in and making some updates to your marketing, just administrative tasks. Then what I would do is I would block from 3 to 6. This is how I did it. This is not what you need to do. 3 to 6 was my day. I took 2 to 3 as a block where it was vacant, because I needed drive time to my appointments. So I did 2 to 3 was vacant. Then my 3 to 6 was my appointment schedule. So with my appointments, here's what I did. More options, appointments. I would then create a list of what I was doing with my appointments. And if I didn't have appointments for that day, this could be a meeting with a past client. It could be a listing appointment. It could be a listing appointment, or a listing appointment, or maybe a listing appointment. And if I didn't have that, then I would, of course, could I do a buyer consultation, or would I do my showings? Then I would actually come back in. And if I didn't have any appointments, then I would go back to lead generation. Here's the simple fact of the matter, guys. If you didn't set an appointment today, what did you really do? You wake up every single day in this industry unemployed. And the only way that you become employed is to go have an appointment. Now, that appointment might be a mock listing presentation where you actually go and do a listing presentation with someone. But so here are the things that I would say. So appointment first, my goal was a listing appointment. Why? Because that makes everything else easier. Listing appointments were first. There. Second was a buyer consult. Third would be if I didn't have an appointment, a listing appointment, then I'd go back to lead gen. And I'm just creating a menu of success, of ways that I can be successful in my business. And I would spend this. Guys, if it was not uncommon for me to go out there and do some specific and spend 4 or 5 hours a day doing lead gen when I didn't have business. Like what else do I have to do? And that lead generation here, guys, just so you can get really creative. Maybe this is where I actually spend time on social media doing some Facebook marketing. Maybe this is where I spend some time coming in and going out and actually knocking on doors. Hey, we just listed this house down the street. Maybe this was a time that I would do an open house. But create some rules around your schedule that then you can set as an actual recurring schedule that when you come in to your day, these things show up every single day. And that way you know what you're doing and when you're doing it. And again, here's the crazy thing is that if you have something that comes up where like the kids get sick or whatever it is, like you are going to take a day off, it doesn't matter to me. The point is that if you erase it, you just replace it. Were there times that I had a training that I wanted to be at where this went away? And because that went away, I had to then take this appointment out and then I would go and do lead gen here. Yes, your schedule works for you. My point in this conversation is this: get a plan, create some rules around your time, have a start time and an end time to your business, and make sure that you're putting in valuable activities inside of your time blocks so that way you can achieve the results that you deserve. Guys, you can do this. Success is simple, not easy. And it's not about selling real estate. It's about following a schedule. So what's on your schedule? What did I miss? Put some things in the comments below. Talk to you guys soon. Hope you have a fantastic day. Lots of love. If you have questions or you think of something better, like I said, please just let me know and let's talk about it. Hope you guys are well. See ya.